we got day baseball, so you would think there's a little bit more as far as action goes. But real quickly, let's go over what happened last night. Edmonton gets the job done. We saw money come in on them for the adjusted series price at minus 200. That's why you're probably seeing minus 210s, even minus 220s out there. At minus 200 or better, there's steam on Edmonton to win this series, which kind of holds true with history. You win game one, usually going to win that Stanley Cup 7 out of 10 times. Now we're looking at game one of the finals tonight. A lot more balance. Good two-way action on the side. Good two-way action on the total. Like I said, nothing's really changed from yesterday. You know how home teams do in the finals. They usually win game one close to 8 out of 10 times. But the spread's the great equalizer, and I think that's why you're seeing some balance here. Just as much Indiana action as Oklahoma City action, seeing overs, seeing unders. So it's probably a really good game one to be a bookmaker because I don't think they're going to have a ton of risk when this game goes off. But again, the money that I have seen one-sided seems to be on Indiana to win the series. And again, they want to put up a little money to win a lot. But historically, the home team wins the NBA Finals about 73% of the time, which is right along the same percentage that the home team wins in the playoffs any round in the NBA. Up over 7 out of 10 times, home teams do win the series. But again, not too many recreational bettors want to lay 6 or 7 to win one on Oklahoma City right now. Real quickly, in Major League Baseball, we've seen some money on 902 Atlanta all the way up to minus 140. This is all sharp. 905, the Mets at plus 120. 913, Baltimore, plus 140, plus 145. Toronto at plus money or even money. They're taking Toronto. And the one total is under in the White Sox and Detroit, under 8.5 up to minus 130, and then under 8 as well up to minus 110. So again, still a little early, but we do have a handful of baseball steam in there, and the series, adjusted series price in the Stanley Cup Finals. Nothing to report sharp yet on tonight's NBA game, but hopefully we get some props throughout the day.
A lot of these can be found on the Wager Talk free picks page. We're going to start with Ronald Kabang. He's got an under on the Pacers team total, under 110.5. Thunder, number one defense this postseason. OKC allowing 106 points per game on 44.2% shooting. 9-0 run on road teams going under their team total in game one of the finals, where the home team is rested and they're 5 or more point favorites. So it checks a lot of these boxes here. And Ronald has a 5% WNBA best bet that is up. He's continuing his absolute assault on the books with the WNBA. Fantastic last couple years, and he's doing it again this year. So Ronald Kabang, 5% WNBA best bet that is up. Team total today to look at, Mystics. We're going to the WNBA. Take a look at the Mystics under 75.5 on their team total. Mystics 11th out of 13 teams. Offensive efficiency, they're the worst team in the league from threes, 26.7%. And they're facing just a brutal opponent. The Liberty have held opponents to 52 and 63 points the last two games. By far the number one defensive team in the league. And I had to mention this one. Pavlos with a 6-1 free play. I've never seen this one before. European World Cup qualifiers, San Marino 6-1. Will have an own goal against Bosnia. I love this one. San Marino scored an own goal in their last game, and several opponents have already scored own goals against Bosnia. The thinking is Bosnia is going to dominate possession, and they're going to fire a bunch of shots, and it won't take a lot for a deflected ball off a defender to go in. So you want a nice little long shot and a fun one to root for. Pavlos giving out a 6-1 on European World Cup qualifiers. San Marino to have an own goal. We've got the Pacers +9, and I'm seeing 9.5. So we got more money coming in on the Thunder for sure. Over-under is sitting at 230. So we'll go over a pick for this game, and we'll also go over a prop. I like Aaron Nesmith under his points, rebounds, and assists. I'll tell you why. Some of the stats that we've gone over, both teams are top 3 in pace and offense, but the biggest difference to me is that the Thunder are number 1 in defense and Pacers are number 9. I've talked about this, how I really think the Thunder are just a little bit better version of the Pacers. You know, the Pacers have Halliburton, top 15 player. Thunder have SGA, top 2 player. Pacers have Miles Turner. Well, the Thunder can counter with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. There was a game in March that I really wanted to pay attention to because the Pacers were playing unbelievable basketball at the time. This was a real game that meant something to both teams. And Chet did not play in that one. So we have a game that the Thunder played that the Chet Holmgren didn't play in, and the Thunder won 132 to 111. This was a really, really big eye-opening kind of watch because you realize how far ahead the Thunder are. When the Thunder are at their best, they're just so much better than the Pacers. Ralph has some really good stats here. Game number 1, NBA Finals home teams. 17-3 ATS the last 20. If these home teams have 3+ days rest, they're 16-1. And if they're home favorite of 4 more, 14-0 ATS. All signs point to the Thunder blowing out the Pacers. I've given out this stat. The Thunder in the playoffs have a 221-point differential. So when they win, they're winning by big, big margins. I'm not going to overthink this one. I like the Thunder to roll in this series. I like the Thunder -9, -9.5. If you're going to play it, try and find that -9. I mentioned the prop, Aaron Nesmith, under 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's got that tweaked ankle. I don't know if he's going to be at 100%. And his role is simple. His role is to try and guard SGA. That's where all of his energy is going to go. Don't be surprised if they try and face guard SGA, even on both ends of the court. It wouldn't surprise me if he tried to pick up SGA full court. In that March game, 22 minutes, 7 points and 4 rebounds, so only 11 points, rebounds, assists. Here's the thing, 4 fouls. We know SGA gets a lot of whistles. If Nesmith is a primary defender, foul trouble is an absolute worry. And if he does get in foul trouble, if it's a blowout, or if he's hobbling around, they're not going to be able to play him in crunch time, so he's going to sit. And the last 2 games in the Knicks series when he had the ankle problem, 5 PRA and 14 PRA. So I'm looking at Aaron Nesmith under 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I look for the Thunder to get out to a 1-0 lead, and I look for them to cover the spread. No opinion on the total. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know if you agree with that one. And shout out to the chat. Let me know if you guys agree with this one as well.
So let's get into the Rangers and Rays. So the Rays are hitting really hot right now. And they got Pepio going today. He's kind of an average pitcher, not exactly the greatest in the world. I grade him a little bit over average here, but we got Leader going for the Rangers. The Rangers have been one of the coldest hitting teams in Major League Baseball. But instead of a side here, I mean, I wouldn't mind going with the Rays, but the Rays are not probably as good as they've been playing on this current winning streak and this current tear that they're on, hitting the ball quite well. I don't think they're actually that good. So instead of a side at -150, I've got a nice little prop here. Leader is one of those guys who walks a lot of people. And I've coined this phrase on Total Bases. Total Bases is on every day at 9 a.m. Eastern live with me and Adam and Brian. And I've coined this phrase, chronic walker. And for some reason, people laugh at this phrase. I mean, I live in Japan, so maybe my English is fading a little bit. I don't think it's fading. But when I use the term chronic walker, it seems like I get a lot of comments and they say it sounds strange. But Leader is a chronic walker, which means he walks a lot of guys at a pretty hefty rate. He's walking guys at 2.8 per 9 innings, which is a little bit high. The Rays are walking at a 3.2 per 9 inning rate. Jack Leader's walks over under today is 1.5. And I think the over 1.5 walks here is a really good bet. Probably not the greatest odds in the world, but Jack Leader is pretty likely to walk 2 guys today. So I'm on Jack Leader to walk over 1.5 in this game. I do like the Rays as well, but I think aside at that steep odds, I don't think the Rays are quite as good as they're playing right now. I think they're playing a little over their head. Pepio, I'm not a huge fan of his. I mean, he's a decent pitcher, but he's not as good as he's been pitching. So I like the Jack Leader walks over prop in this game a lot better than I like a side.
The Oilers, they outshot the Panthers 46-32. Stuart Skinner, he made 29 saves. They were able to erase that multi-goal deficit, and they got the victory there. But one interesting stat I saw, Andy, because I know you're interested in stats, is that 76% of teams that win Game 1 of the best-of-7 Stanley Cup final have then gone on to win the series all time. And so, yeah, as you mentioned, it was a great overtime goal there. Connor McDavid to Leon Draisaitl. But another really interesting stat about Draisaitl there, Andy, he's now tied the Stanley Cup playoffs record for the most overtime goals in one playoff year with 3. And so maybe he's going to break that record this year. He has a chance to do that anyways there. In the end, Sergei Bobrovsky, Stuart Skinner, they both had really poor games, but that's uncharacteristic of them, especially in this playoffs. Going into game 1, Bobrovsky, he had a .912 save percentage and a 2.1 goals against. Skinner, he had a .904 save percentage and a 2.53 GAA. And so game 1 flew over the number. I just think that, the guys between the pipes are going to stand out here. And so I like the under. I mean, game 1 was at 6 and now game 2 is at 6.5. As I say, this could become a client play, but I like the under.
You go back and watch this fight. I don't really see it. Plus, when you look at statistic-wise, I don't really see it much at all. I mean, he outlanded Sean 82-47 on significant strikes with 6 takedowns, 10 minutes of control time. And if you look at total strikes landed, which is very interesting, but total strikes landed, you have Merab with 214-49. And obviously, those aren't going to be the more impactful shots, but still, he is absolutely outlanding him. He is absolutely finding the control time. And you do have Sean who, he's an elite level striker. There is absolutely no doubt. The guy's got, good accuracy, good footwork. There are those things that he can do. But the thing about it is it's very hard to be a minute winner against Merab. It's just absolutely difficult because you're defensive wrestling for most of the time. That's really why Sean wasn't able to, get his offense going in that first fight. And that's the thing about Merab is he is a fantastic minute winner. He can go in there, he can look for takedowns, look for that control time. And really, I think the only out here for O'Malley is going to be a knockout. And it's very tough again to see because Merab has never been knocked out in his professional career. He's only been submitted 1 time in his professional career, and I don't think that's on the table at all. And if you look back, it's just kind of like, what has changed? What has really changed? Is all of a sudden, Sean going to be this elite level, defensive wrestler? Probably not. Is he all of a sudden going to get his offense off over 25 minutes? Probably not. So that's really where I think it's a tough stylistic matchup for him. I don't really see much happening here. I kind of feel like Sean's a little bit more of a celebrity than he is a fighter at this particular point here, which is, I think, why he's getting another title shot after just losing against Merab and not fighting anyone else is kind of, an odd situation here. But Merab's just a bad matchup. Best cardio probably in the UFC. One of the best paces in the UFC. One of the best chain wrestlers in the UFC here. So I think that this is Merab, and you're going to have to look at the method of victory here, which I do think by points, it's going to be very similar. I don't see Merab getting the finish. I think he gets a lot of control time, a lot of smothering pressure, and gets the victory. So you can get that around -150 on Merab and by points. And I think that's probably the path for him on Saturday. The one thing here, and I know that there are some people that, may want to take that shot on Juliana. And, I can't argue, I guess, at this particular point when you're talking about the price. But the one thing that I thought was such a bad look for her was really her most recent fight against Raquel Pennington. I think at this point, you really need to put a stamp on fighting someone like Raquel Pennington, who's, okay everywhere, but good nowhere. And I think that was a spot where you did see, it was like 92 apiece on significant strikes. Pennington had 1 knockdown. Juliana had 2 takedowns. It was a split decision and really like an uneventful fight here. And this is the spot here on Saturday where, this line's wild, but, Kayla has the path here. And it's just really for the takedowns, a rinse and repeat, take her down, get that control time. And the thing about Juliana is the fact that she's not very good at defending takedowns. And that, to me, is a massive concern here. And obviously, I think why this line is where it's sitting. And 23% takedown defense rate. Anyone who's really wanted to take Juliana down took her down. Sarah McMahon was 3 for 3 on takedowns. Amanda Nunes, 6 for 7 on takedowns. Even if you go back to Nico Montano, who, arguably one of the worst champions in UFC history, was 3 for 5 on takedowns against Juliana Pena. And the thing about it, Pena, she likes to be on her back. She's okay with it because she's got the jiu-jitsu. But the thing about it is she lacks physicality. She lacks strength, and that's really where Kayla comes in here. You can see by the pictures, she's an absolute monster, and she's going to look for those takedowns. She's going to get them. It's going to be early. It's going to be coming, a lot of, top time, ground and pound. And the thing about Pena is the fact that, I think her best attribute is probably just being tough. that's like really her, which is not a great thing to have, I think, at the UFC level, but that's really what her best attribute is. She's going to come forward. She's going to have sloppy combinations, but she's willing to take shots, come forward, not give up on herself. And that's kind of where I see this fight going, where I think it's going to be hard for Harrison to kind of get that finish here early. I think it's going to be, opportunities for her. But as this fight wears on, I just really don't think that Harrison can get the job done. If Nunes couldn't finish her, I don't think that Harrison can either. And that's kind of where I'm thinking there's a lot of value here on Harrison. Now you've got, 7-1 favorite here, but we're going to flip it to a 2-1 dog. And Harrison by points is around plus 200. And I think that's where this goes here. Again, it can be some dicey moments, maybe, Juliana looking for, some kind of front choke while she's looking for these takedowns. But I think that, she's going to be okay, Kayla. I think she's going to get control time, winning the scorecard. So I think plus 200 by points is a really solid number.